Hello and welcome back. Let's continue to look at equations. So the next type of equation that we're going to look at will use what we were just looking at, where we can combine terms that have x's in them. So here we have 9x plus 0.07x is equal to 58, and we want to find x rounded to the nearest hundredth. So right away, the left-hand side looks a little bit confusing, so I want to simplify this as much as I can. So for instance, if I have 9x plus, let's see here, 0.07, I just left off the 0 here, it doesn't make any difference. X is equal to 58. What I can do is I can combine what I will refer to as like terms. Both these have an x in them, so I can combine them together just like I would, have apples and apples. So if I take these and I add them together, so I'll get 9 plus 0.07 x is equal to 58. And then lastly, if I add these together, I can do this on a calculator. This would be 9.07x is equal to 58. So now I have to solve for x. And when I look at this, what I'm doing is I'm taking a number times x, and that's equal to 58. So 9.07 times x is equal to 58. How do you undo multiplication? I don't want this 9.07 there. I just want x by itself. I don't care about 9.07x. I care about x. So the way to undo multiplication is you divide. So what I want to do is I want to divide both sides by 9.07. If I divide by 9.07, this is just like reducing fractions that we saw previously. If I've got a 9.07 multiplied on top and I've got a 9.07 on the bottom, they cancel out. So I'm left with x is going to be 58 divided by 9.07. And this is something that I can simply do on a calculator. So let's come back to our calculator, and I can do 58 divided by 9.07. I hit enter, and I come up with my answer. We wanted this rounded to the nearest hundredth. So this is going to be 6 point, and then we have 3, 9. The 4 is less than 5, so I don't round up. So my answer is 6.39. There we go. Let's do another example. So we've got 10.1x minus 4.3x is equal to 18. Again, this left-hand side, we've got multiple things with x's in them. Let's simplify this and just make this into one thing rather than two. So we've got 10.1x minus 4.3x is equal to 18. When I subtract these, again, I've got like terms. They both have an x in them. So I'm just going to take the numbers up front and subtract them from one another. This is something I could do by hand, or I could go back to my calculator and go 10.1 minus 4.3, and I'll get 5.8. This is going to be 5.8 times x is equal to 18. Again, I don't care about 5.8x. I just want x by itself. So how do I undo this multiplication? This is 5.8 times x. Well, the only way to undo multiplication is by division. So I will divide the 5.8 from both sides. To get that x should be 18 divided by 5.8. And here I want to round this to the nearest tenth. So I'll keep that in mind as I go back to my calculator. I'll take 18 divided by 5.8, hit enter, and I get 3.10344, so on and so forth. So when I round to the nearest tenth, I come to the next one and I go, oh, it's a 0. I don't have to round up, so this is going to be 3.1. Cool. So these first couple of examples are pretty much straightforward. We just have to consolidate the things on the left-hand side into one term and divide. So let's do this again. We've got 8.4x plus 1.33x. This is equal to 5. So I have two terms with just an x. I can combine these together by adding what's out in front. It's going to be 8.4 plus 1.33. And when I add these together, I can just do this on the calculator. This I did beforehand. So this will be 9.73x, and this is equal to 5. And again, this is 9.73 times x, and I don't want the 9.73 there. So instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide so that they cancel out. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So these guys cancel, and I'm left with x is equal to 5 divided by 9.73. And when I come back to my calculator, 5 divided by 9.73, and this equals 0.51387, and we want to round this to the nearest hundredth. So if we come out to the hundredths place, this is 2 places. This is going to be 0.51. We don't round up because it's a 3 is next. This is going to be 0.51. And that is our answer. Cool. So the last couple of questions I want to look at are going to be a little bit more applications. So the next question is about the area of a square. So the area of a square is given by this formula. And then I go on to say, so A is going to be the area, and S is going to be the side length. So the area of a square is going to be the side length of the square multiplied by itself, s to the second power. So then we're told that the area is 8.42 square inches. So then the question is, what is s if we round it to the nearest tenth? Okay, so first things first, here's our formula. A is equal to s squared. And we are told that A is 84.2 square inches. And I'm not going to worry about the units for now, but this is 84.2 square inches, and that's equal to s squared. So I want to solve this for s. I want s by itself. I don't want s squared. So the way that we do this is we use our exponents from before. And again, if you raise an exponent to an exponent, you multiply them. So here was the rule. If I take a to the nth power and raise it to the mth power, I multiply them. Oops. So this is going to be a to the n times mth power. So what could I raise this side to get rid of the 2? I could raise this to 1/2. So again, I'll take s squared, and I'll raise this to the 1/2 power. Because what is 2 times a half? It's just going to be 1. So this side, I'm not going to worry about the left-hand side for a second. So this side, s squared to the 1/2, is going to be s to the first power. Which anything to the first power is just itself. This is how I deal with the right-hand side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So on this side, I'm going to have 84.2, and I'm going to take it to the 1/2 power. So 84.2 to the 1/2 power, this is s. So I come back to my calculator, and I take 84.2, and I'm going to raise this to the 1 divided by 2. This is how I write 1/2. So again, we can look at this and we can see that we're writing the right thing. We've got 84.2 raised to the 1/2 power. I hit equals, and what I see is 9.176 and a bunch of other numbers. But I want to take this and I want to round it to the nearest tenth. So this is going to be 9 and this will be 2, because I'll look at the 7 and I'll see that this is bigger than or equal to 5. So if I come back to here, we see that s is equal to 9.2.